You're just like your selfish kid. My mom hissed when I refused to cancel my daughter's birthday to lend my sister money. I said she learns from the best. Then I blocked their numbers and the security turned them away at the door. My mother always said family comes first. Right before she asked for another loan I'd never get back. Yesterday, she called me a disgrace to the family. Today, she's pounding at my door, screaming through the intercom, begging to be let in. She should have thought of that before. I'm Ava, 33, single mom, project manager at a tech company, and apparently, a walking ATM for my mother, my sister, and anyone else who remembers I exist only when bills are due. It was a Wednesday. I remember because I was setting up balloon animals for Mia's 7th birthday party, just me, our tiny apartment, and the soft chaos of pink glitter in homemade cupcakes. Mia was dancing around in her unicorn pajamas, her curls bouncing like springs. For once, it was peaceful until my phone lit up with Mom. I should have let it ring. I really should have let it ring, but I didn't. Ava, she began, skipping any pleasantries. I need you to lend your sister some money. No. How are you? No. Happy birthday to Mia. Just a command like I was the help. I already knew what was coming. It was always the same setup. How much? I asked quietly. Mia was humming beside me, focused on her coloring book. I lowered my voice. And why now? She's behind on rent again. And she's applied for a job at that yoga studio, but Mom exhaled sharply, irritated. She can't go to the interview if she's worried about being evicted. And why is this my responsibility? Because you have the money. Because you're her sister. Because it's what family does. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Mia's birthday is this weekend. I already booked the venue. The deposit's non-refundable. Silence. Then that voice of the one I knew too well. Cold. Sharp. You're just like your selfish kid. My hand froze midair. What did you just say? My voice was quieter than I intended, but it carried. You heard me, she hissed. That spoiled child learned from you. Always thinking about yourselves. What about us? What about this family? I stared at the speaker on my phone like it might explode. She did learn from me. I said, finally, my voice low. She's learning what boundaries are. Something you clearly never did. Excuse me. I'm done, Mom. I said it calmly. Too calmly. This is the last call you'll ever make where you think you can guilt me. I ended the call. Then I blocked her number. My sisters too. And Carla. Even that cousin who only texts when she needs a ride to court. I looked at Mia, still coloring, oblivious to the storm I just unleashed. And I made a decision. No more birthday parties being postponed. No more rent payments that weren't mine. No more carrying a family that had never once carried me. That Saturday, Mia's birthday went off without a hitch. Face paint, cake, a rented bouncy castle. For once, I watched her laugh without guilt gnawing at me. My mom showed up, of course, dressed in pearls and fury, dragging my sister behind her. But the security guard at the venue, a kind man named Greg, checked the list and shook his head. Sorry, ma'am. You're not on the guest list. You're joking, she barked. I'm her mother. Greg radioed in calmly, under strict instructions not to let you through. She screamed something then. I didn't hear all of it because I was inside holding my daughter's hand, watching her blow out the candles on a cake that finally had her name on it. This was only the beginning. 3 days after I blocked Mom and Danielle, I came home to find my front door unlocked. I live in a secured apartment complex. Only Mia and I have keys. My stomach dropped. Mia. I called, heart racing. I'm in here, Mommy. She shouted from her room, her voice cheerful. But the moment I turned the corner to the kitchen, I saw her, Danielle, sitting at my table, sipping from my best wine glass. My wine, my glass, my chair, feet up. Like she lived here. You left the spare key under the mat, she said, not even turning to look at me. Not very smart. What are you doing here? I snapped, walking straight to the fridge. Half the cupcakes were gone. Relax, she said, smirking. Mom told me you were being dramatic. I figured I'd come clear the air. By breaking into my house. Oh, please. She stood up slowly, lazily, like she had all the time in the world. I used to babysit here, remember? I practically raised Mia when you were working all those overtime shifts. You charged me $20 an hour and made her watch YouTube while you took selfies in my bathroom. Danielle rolled her eyes. You're still bitter. Always the martyr. I stared at her. Get out. I will, she said, grabbing another cupcake after we talk. Or would you rather Mia hears us fight? Her voice lowered, venom coating her smile. You wouldn't I? She whispered. You think you're the only one who can play dirty? I clenched my fists. Say what you came to say. She stepped closer, her tone shifting from smug to icy. We're family, Ava. And what you did, turning your back on us, it's cruel. What I did, I laughed. You begged me to cancel my daughter's birthday so you could get a cosmetic procedure and avoid eviction. It was for a job interview at a yoga studio, Danielle. You don't even do yoga. She scowled. That's not the point. The point is you have money, and you're acting like it's yours. I froze. It is mine. She waved a hand. It's the family's. You wouldn't have that job if Mom didn't watch Mia when she was a baby. Mom watched Mia for 2 weeks, then guilt-tripped me for 2 years. Danielle's voice rose. We all sacrifice for you. You sacrificed. You mean the time you borrowed my credit card for a Vegas girls' trip? Or when you took my car and left it 2 cities over? I was in a bad place. You've been in a bad place for 10 years, Danielle. Maybe it's just who you are. Her face flushed and for a second I saw it, hate in her eyes. You think you're better than us, she said quietly. With your job in your apartment and that child of yours. I took a step forward. Say one more word about my daughter, I said, my voice trembling with fury. And I swear I will not let this happen again. Mia appeared in the hallway holding her unicorn plushie. Mommy. Danielle turned and forced a smile. Hey, sweetie. Go, I hissed. Now. She didn't fight. She picked up her purse, walked to the door, then turned. You're gonna regret this, she said softly. You need us. Whether you admit it or not. The door slammed behind her, and I realized something terrifying. They weren't done with me. I said, you're right. And now I'm freezing the account. The Sunday family dinner wasn't optional. It never was. Mom didn't ask me to come. She just texted be here by 6. Bring a salad. No, please. No. How are you? Just a command. Like, I was the help. I went anyway because I needed to look them in the eye before I burned this whole illusion to the ground. Their apartment hadn't changed. Still smelled like Chanel No. 5 and overcooked meat. I stepped inside and saw it. The stage. The performance. Mom at the head of the table, voice full of faux concern. Ava, we were just talking about something important. Your sister found this amazing life coaching certification, but she needs $3,000 upfront. And since you got that promotion, everyone turned to me like I was already halfway to writing the check. My sister Danielle was lounging like she owned the place. Aunt Louise sighed dramatically like she was auditioning for a soap opera. You understand, don't you, sweetheart? She just needs a boost like you once got. I took a slow, deliberate breath. You've already decided I'm paying for this? I asked, calm as glass. Mom didn't even blink. Well, who else would help her? We're family, and family supports each other. I stared at her. When's the last time any of you supported me? The dialogue that changed everything. Mom tight-lipped. We helped with Mia when you were working overtime. Me sharply. You mean when you babysat for 2 weeks, then guilt-tripped me for 2 years? Danielle offended. Seriously? This again? Ava, we're just asking for a little help. You have money. I have dreams. What's the crime? Me. The crime? The crime is treating me like an ATM with emotional guilt as a PIN code. The crime is you calling my daughter selfish because I wouldn't cancel her birthday for your cosmetic procedure. The crime is all of you acting like I owe you my spine just because we share DNA. The room went silent. Mom raising her voice, you don't understand. You've always been ungrateful. We gave you everything and you just decided to walk away. Me coldly, I didn't walk away. I finally stopped crawling. Danielle clutching her wine glass. You used to say family was everything. Me smiling. I also used to believe in Santa Claus. Then Mom lost it. You betrayed us, Yuva. She screamed. You ruined this dinner. You insulted your sister, and you're raising your daughter to be just as selfish. I stood up slowly. You want to talk about betrayal? I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, pressed 3 buttons, and then your recurring transfers have been cancelled. Card has been frozen. Congratulations, I said, looking every one of them in the eye. You've just lost access to the only person keeping your lives stitched together. Mom blinking, you're not serious. Me, I've never been more serious. Danielle, what about my plans? Me, guess you'll finally have to make some of your own. Mom shaking with rage, you're just like your selfish kid. I paused at the door, hand on the handle, then turned back. You're right, I said softly. She's exactly like me. And I'm so grateful for that because she's learning how to say no. I opened the door behind me. Silence. I stepped out and let it slam shut. You're nothing without us, my mom screamed. So I bought the company that pays their rent, then fired them. It had been 12 days since I cut the money. 12 days since I hit the red button in my banking app that said, stop funding these dependents. Since then, my phone had gone from silence to siege. First came Danielle. You're being unreasonable, Ava. You can't just stop helping the people who raised you. Then came Mom. Do you know how hard this is on your father? He had to sell his Rolex. You're punishing us because of some personal tantrum. You're better than this. And finally, your sister's landlord is threatening eviction, and it's going to be your fault. My fault. Everything always was, wasn't it? But this time, I didn't shrink. This time, I let the silence answer. Because while they were losing control, I was gaining it. Every hour they wasted texting guilt into the void. I was signing contracts, reviewing funding applications, scheduling speaking events, building something real, something that wasn't about surviving anymore. It was about winning. A VA tech initiative launched that week. A nonprofit platform I've been designing in secret for months. One built for single mothers in tech, legal support, grants, childcare solutions, mental health resources by mothers, for mothers. Funded by Fury. The day the website went live, my inbox exploded. One headline led the charge. Woman stops paying for her family's bad decision, starts national movement instead. That was all it took. Suddenly I had investors, press, and political interest. People who saw me really saw me for the first time in my life. But karma. Karma showed up in tailored boots and didn't knock. One of the real estate groups who offered to rent a VA tech office space in bulk turned out to own the building where my parents lived. Not rent. Own. Guess who had a commercial interest in them? I ran the numbers. Looked at the stakeholders. Saw an opportunity. 3 meetings later, I own 23% of the holding group. I didn't need to take over. I just needed a vote. Just enough to sit at the table where leases were renewed or weren't. So I didn't evict them. I just made their security deposit go up by 400%. Scene, confrontation in the lobby. 2 days later, I got a message from the receptionist. Hi, Ava. There's a woman claiming to be your mother in the lobby. She's yelling. I opened the building's security camera feed, and there she was in full force. Mom, Danielle, drenched in desperation, clinging to handbags and high voices. Danielle and fake Chanel. Mom in real resentment. Security was already intervening. I watched them argue, plead, yell. Then Mom turned to the glass. Her lips formed a familiar line. You're nothing without us. I leaned back in my chair. Actually, I'm finally something because of that. Seen the knock on their door. I showed up that Sunday at 8 a.m. sharp. Danielle opened the door wearing a bathrobe and a hangover. She blinked. What are you doing here? Mom's voice echoed from inside. Who is it, honey? Judgment Day, I answered. I stepped inside without waiting for permission. You have 30 days, I said. After that, you're gone. You're evicting us. Danielle gasped. From our home. You mean the place I've been secretly subsidizing for the past 5 years? The one you've been late paying on 3 times this year. You're out of your mind, Mom hissed, stepping into the room. No. I've never been more sane. Mom, arms crossed. You'll regret this. We took care of you. We made you. Me. No. You trained me. Trained me to sacrifice myself while you called it love. But guess what? I learned. And now I'm flipping the lesson back on you. Danielle mocking. So what now? You just let us end up on the street. You want your niece to be homeless. Me stone cold. I want you to experience something real for once. You've lived off delusion and guilt for too long. Danielle's face twisted into something between hate and heartbreak. You're heartless. I smiled. No, Danielle. I'm the result of monsters. Seen full circle at home. That night, Mia and I had dinner on our new balcony overlooking a city I once thought I'd only ever survive in. She ate her spaghetti with too much Parmesan and too little grace. I didn't care. Mom. She asked between bites. Yes, baby. Are Grandma and Aunt Danielle mad at us? Probably, I said. Do we still love them? I looked out at the skyline, let the breeze hit my face. We love ourselves more. Scene, Ava goes public. A week later, I was giving a keynote at the Tech Women Reclaim conference. Room packed. Live stream pushing 500,000. I stood on that stage, heels firm, voice clear, and I told the truth. I stopped letting my family eat off my bones and started feeding myself. I used to think I was cold, but it wasn't coldness, it was clarity. Family doesn't mean sacrifice. Family doesn't mean silence. Family doesn't mean debt, and you are allowed no required to save yourself first. Scene, one final message. Backstage, I checked my phone. Text from Danielle. We're being kicked out next week. You won. Happy now. No punctuation. No apology. No ownership. I didn't reply. Instead, I set the phone down, looked at my reflection, and smiled. Happy? No. Free. Completely. We miss you, they whispered a year later. I said, I don't miss who I was around you. 1 year. That's how long it's been since I ended the cycle. Since I stopped being the bank, the babysitter, the guilt sponge, the fallback plan. Since I walked out of that apartment, turned off my phone, and started writing the next chapter of my life by hand, by blood, by choice. And let me tell you something. Peace isn't quiet. It's powerful. It doesn't whisper. It roars. Mia's birthday 1 year later. This time last year, I was duct taping balloons in a tiny apartment, worried about overdrafting. Today, I watched Mia step out of a car in a glittering purple dress, her curls bouncing with every step. Her cheeks were painted with joy, not survival. We booked the rooftop of a women-owned cafe I'd invested in part of the AVA Tech Reinvestment Fund. There were fairy lights, a real cake, a violinist playing Disney themes, and only people who chose us were invited. Mia looked up at me while blowing out the candles. I wish for a world where you're never sad again. That one nearly broke me. I kissed her forehead. We're halfway there. Then came the knock. 3 hours later, while I was stacking gifts into the car, the knock came. Not on a door, but on the edge of the party. Mom, Danielle, both standing like shadows behind the string lights, out of place, overdressed, underwelcome. They looked smaller, not physically, spiritually. Danielle was holding a white envelope. Mom had that look. The one she used to wear before manipulating me. That mask of concern. Can we talk? Mom said almost gently. I didn't answer. Just stared. We didn't know about the party, Danielle added, shifting awkwardly. No one told us. Maybe that's the point, I said calmly. The final conversation. Mom stepped forward slowly. Not the usual stomp. This time it was a shuffle. We've been thinking about how things ended. Oh, I raised a brow. You mean when I stopped paying for your life and you called my daughter selfish? Danielle flinched. We were angry. You were entitled, I corrected. We miss you, Mom said, her voice cracking. Your father, he's been asking. You miss control, I said. You miss comfort. You miss the version of me who didn't say no. No. Danielle said quietly. We miss you. That's when I saw the envelope again. She extended it. It's a letter from Dad. He's not well. I took it. Not for them. For me. Because I'm not cruel, I just learned boundaries. I didn't open it yet. I'm glad you came, I said. Their eyes lit up. Hope flickered, but we're not going backward. The mic drop. You taught me a lot, I said, stepping forward. Mom tilted her head. Danielle looked unsure. You taught me what it feels like to be used. To be invisible. To be praised only when I performed. To be punished when I prioritized myself. Mom's lip trembled. Ava, you taught me what I never want my daughter to feel. Danielle started to speak. I raised my hand. She stopped. You say you miss me? I asked. Then miss me properly. Miss the version of me you destroyed. Because the woman you see now. I smiled. She doesn't need to be missed. She is just not by you. Final scene, Power has a view. That night back home, I sat on the rooftop patio of my new house. It was quiet, but not the old kind of quiet, the suffocating kind. This was the earned quiet. The I paid my own way quiet. Mia was asleep upstairs, her glitter crown still on. The stars stretched over the city like they were finally watching me back. Below, the world kept spinning. My phone lit up with another unknown number. I didn't even read the text. I powered it off. They called me selfish, but they never asked what it cost to survive for everyone else. I'm not selfish now. I'm just finally mine.